Today I'll be showing you how to make a working gravity block duper gravity block generator in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This farm is fully automatic. You can just AFK at this however long you want, and doesn't require any auto clicker, of course. And well, this farm doesn't use any end portals, of course, since those got patched for Bedrock Edition. If you're on Java, then that still works. And there are designs that use end gateways, but they're just so slow because there's like a timer. Whenever like an entity goes through an end gateway, there's a cooldown for when you can send the next one, which really limits gravity block dupers that use end gateways unless you're smart enough to stack these end gateways, which is pretty hard. Yeah, this works in the current version. And as for the rates, it has a theoretical maximum of 100,000 blocks per hour if you have a good device on a good world that has relatively low lag, which means you can get just a crap ton of items in just one AFK session, or you can just sit there for like 5-10 minutes and get a bunch, like stacks and stacks of sand or concrete powder, gravel if you want, or anvils, like if you ever need that many anvils. I don't know why, but yeah. If you want to skip to the tutorial, you can go to this timestamp up here, but I really recommend that you stay through and watch the following info, because if your farm is broken, you can like fix it all by yourself, and I mean, learning things is better for you. Like, you get smarter, you understand how it works, and yeah, so you don't have to like worry about some dumb issue that you could have solved in like 5 minutes instead of like waiting and trying to figure it out on your own. Well, since the end portal and gateway duplication methods aren't reliable, as I mentioned before in the introduction, the portal method is just plain broken since 0.16.100. And the end gateway method is just really slow if you want a lot of sand really quickly because of the cooldown. We use a fairly recent duping method, which was discovered by Orange31, so shout out to him. He makes great technical YouTube videos. I'll link him down below. Basically, we use one simulation distance, and with using Mad Hatter's Chunk Border resource pack, I'll link that and his channel in the description. It's really great because you can like use it anywhere. Since I'm using a sim distance of 4, which I do recommend, it's not required, but it's just easier. Starting off from the base chunk over here, we can go 1, 2, and 3, and 4 chunks out to the edge of our simulation distance, and right across the edge, we dupe the sand across this border right over here. And well, it's easier if I just demonstrate it for you. Using the manual on and off switch, you only need to use it if you don't need that much sand in. You just manually use the farm. And let's slow this down using 77 Tigers' lag machine over here, which basically just slows the game server side. We can see how the sand drops below here, but as it's falling, we push it off out of the simulation distance. So while the game still thinks the sand is inside of our simulation distance, right on top of these pistons, the sand also gets duped across, but the game doesn't realize it because it's outside of our simulation distance. And yeah, I mean, but since it's a bit buggy and not that stable, we do have to take some extra steps to actually dupe the sand. So normally we would turn it on and then off, and then we would just relog and then go back into the chunk and then get our duped sand. But thanks to Senti, we discovered a new method that all you have to do is go in and out of the nether. And then once you do that, you just go into the chunk, and then you might experience some lag, But as you see here, right over here, you can see all the sand coming down. Yeah, and the sand still stays here where we can constantly dupe it. And for the collection, well, as you saw here, we use water streams. But to get the sand into the water streams, well, here using this one of the example slices, the sand would normally appear right over here in between these two blocks where the ice blocks are, where my crosshairs are right now. But using item physics, the sand goes through the ice blocks and comes up onto the sand into the water stream. Oh, that was great. I'm bad at throwing items. Stupid barriers. There we go. Anyways, after we get the water streams in, we bring it to the player into the base chunk. That's not required. You can just have your storage system out here if you want. But I think it's just better over here since it's more accessible to the player. Here I just spammed minecart hopper minecarts onto chests just for testing raids, but if you want to do something different, that's totally up to you. You can do whatever sort of collection you want. And yeah, that's basically all the info you need if you want to use the farm manually. But since we want to automate it, as we do with everything, um, we have this little contraption over here. It's really not that complicated once you understand it. And well, basically, the main problem from AFKing this is the nether part. You have to go in and out of the nether, which means once you get out of the nether, you're stuck in this portal. And well, how do you get the player out of it? You can just push a piston or have water flowing since the portal blocks are like, immovable, and it'll be complicated trying to turn on and off the portal just to get the player out once. Um, and well, in Senti's sim distance based video, he uses a skeleton to shoot out the player into water streams. But since I don't really want to involve entities, and for that you also need a regen beacon, which everybody might not have. We use fairly new device called boat pullers, originally made or discovered by Navy Nexus. Then it was also made reloggable by Void Redstone. So thanks to both of them, I've simplified both versions into this simple boat puller. And so basically, if you're not familiar with what it does, basically acts as a sticky piston for entities. So over here, we can just pull and push the entity in and out of portals. So say the portal was across this row over here, you just pull it out and then have the player drop into the water stream over here and circle around. And on the nether side, we just have another boat puller. Um, Hopefully I can demonstrate it over here. And yeah, over here we just have a simple boat puller on an etho hopper clock. As I said, with 11 items. I mean, technically you only need 10, but I just use 11 to be safer, just so that it doesn't break like on the wrong, being activated on the exact wrong timings. But yeah, it's very simple. Once the player spawns in the portal, even before you load into the nether, the piston retracts you out of the portal and then pushes you back, and then in just like 4 or 5 seconds you're back in the overworld where you can continue, where you can come over here, have this boat puller. Here's the switch for the hopper clock. You can have this boat puller activate, and then you'll be pulled out over here, fall into this water stream, and then once you cross under here, the observer will be activated, and then turn on this pulse extender. Uh, we use this as a delay. You turn on the farm, and then after a little while, we activate both of these pistons to effectively push you back in. And yeah, we just repeat everything, and then that's how you just get infinite sand. And yeah. So that's pretty much all the mechanics and credits for this farm. So Now on to how to actually use it properly. So first off, this large portal section over here, I mean, the portal's still necessary, but none of it, all the wiring isn't necessary. If you don't need that much sand, like if you only like a single chest or so, you don't need to automate it. I'd recommend a video from Pizza Kitten, which a lot of this was actually inspired from, so you can go check him out. I'll leave a link to his simple gravity block duper. It was one of the first ones to post videos on it. But other than that, yeah, you don't actually need all this complicated stuff. It's just if you want to AFK it, and if you just need a ton of TNT or glass or something, and you don't have the time to manually grind it out. And the next important thing is this farm doesn't rely on an intended game mechanic, which of course you knew, but this also means it's not the most reliable. So, I mean, yes, it does reliably work, but you can't have anyone come close to it. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the distance is. I tested it. For some reason, you have to be more than a sim distance away from the farm to actually work. Like, so, I just suggest to not build this near anyone or anything, because if somebody comes up close to it while it's working, like over here, let me quickly show you. Turn this temporary on switch again. So then it comes in. Well, first of all, it won't work. And some of the sand will break. I mean, you only need one row of sand, but just if you were wondering why there was so much sand dropped over here, it's just because if somebody comes in, then the second layer of sand breaks since, well, there's not enough room for two rows of sand. That's why I have this obsidian here. It's not actually required, but it's just a fail-safe to prevent your farm breaking in the case that somebody comes close to it. So yeah, I just recommend building it like at least a few hundred blocks away from anyone. Well, if you're not exactly sure what what's a simulation distance is, well, to quickly explain, it's basically the area around a player that things get loaded pretty much. Well, I mean, you can have things rendered, but it's basically the area where, well, frankly, where things are simulated. And yeah, just certain things work and certain things don't work in outside of simulation distance. And to check it, you can just go to settings and then scroll down to game over here. Yeah, come here and here you can see simulation distance 4 chunks. This is what a lot of people will be at, especially if you're on like mobile. And if you're on realms, then it will always be on 4 chunks. But if for me, my default is 8 chunks. And if you're on a server, they might or might not have it on 4 chunks. They might have a sim distance of 6 or possibly even eight. But yeah, you can always check it in the settings. For realms, well, yeah, it's automatically going to be on 4. And for multiplayer or servers, well, you can just ask like the owner or something to check the settings, or just it's not that hard to figure out. And to actually change it, you have to exit it out and then go to editing the world settings. And once you're in the world settings, you can just go down here as before, but now you can edit it and choose whatever you want. You might have more options if you're on like a PC or less if you're on mobile. But yeah, I recommend sim distance 4 because that means that your gravity block duper is like much closer than in the other simulation distances. But if you do want to have higher rates and do more blocks at a time and you think your device can handle it, then you can just increase it to SimDisk 6 or 8 or even 10 if you really want. And then just expand the farm to have more slices. And yeah, it's pretty easy to tile in. But yeah, I just recommend sim distance of 4. But if you end up doing other sim distances, all you have to do to actually change in the farm besides adding more slices, is expanding the distance between your base chunk and the outer chunk. So over here, as I showed you in the beginning, um, there are 4 chunks in between. So here's the base chunk, and there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 chunks of wiring. And then on this edge, we have the actual duper. But if you want to expand it, you can just go at 5 and 6 and have your farm just be over here. So for the tutorial, I'll just be showing how to do it on a sim distance of 4, since it's the easiest and most most accessible sim distance. But yeah, if you are locked to another one or just want to use a different sim distance, then feel free to do that. One other thing about positioning for the farm, before you actually start building it, make sure you're at least 200 plus blocks away from spawn, or from 0, 0, because for some reason, I'm not sure, something to do with spawn on, it doesn't actually work towards spawn. This was discovered by Senti, so credits to him again. And yeah, that's pretty much it for where to actually build your farm. But as for the rates, as I mentioned before, the theoretical max is 100,000 blocks per hour. But of course, the rates vary from device to device and world to world, depending on how much lag you have. The more lag, the worse it is, since it takes longer to actually go around, and you'll get less items per hour because it takes longer to do one full round. And well, for me, I got 72.5 thousand per hour after I tallied up my rates. But yeah, as I said, I measured out the theoretical max by removing the lag, from removing the loading times from going to the overworld to the nether and nether to the overworld. And yeah, I got approximately 100,000 after calculating it. And yeah, to if you don't want to do sand, well, you can just put concrete powder there in the first place. But you can just either have like half of it as sand, half of it as concrete, or you could just switch it out by clicking these two switch, and then yeah, over here the sand might drop, since you're not supposed to, well, like interact with it outside, but it's fine. It'll just get duped again. And over here, you can just grab concrete powder or something. Where is it? Yeah, over here. And you can go in, mine all of this with like efficiency shovel, and replace it with concrete powder or gravel, anvils. And I don't think you can do dragon eggs because those break. But yeah, pretty much any gravity block over there, besides some stuff like scaffolding or dragon eggs. But yeah, that's pretty much how you switch it. And yeah, I think now we can get onto the tutorial. But before we begin the tutorial, uh, if you like the video, then you can like it. If you disliked something about it, then leave a dislike. If you want to watch more content, then you can subscribe. Or if you have some other opinion, then you can leave it down in the comments below for like constructive feedback and whatnot. But it's completely up to you. So for the first thing you need, well, first of all, let's start off with the materials list. So up here is the very basic material list for each slice. So as I showed you in the very beginning, the farm is actually made up of 48 slices. If you don't have as many resources to build all of them, or if you just don't need that much sand, then you can build less. So here I've upped the material list for every individual slice. So if you're building the full farm, then you can multiply everything by 48. If you're building even more, then you can multiply it by that number, or yeah, just do the amount of slices that you want. And up here is the the material list for the manual farm. So if you like think the automatic one is too complicated, or you just don't have the resources for it, then here's below the slice material list, here's the manual material list. But for most people, I'll replace that with the automated materials list. It's a bit more resource intensive, but I mean it's not that much compared to all of the other farms, and compared to the amount of sand that or concrete powder it brings in. So yeah, that's all you'll need. And to actually build the farm, you need to know where the chunk borders are. So here I'm using Mad Hatter's Chunk Border Resource Pack. It's a resource pack that you can just put into global resources or for your world, but if for some reason resource packs are locked, or you're on a device that you can't get any resource packs, so you just can't use them at all for some reason, then along with the Chunk Border Resource Pack, I'll also I'll leave links in the description on how to find the chunk borders. And yeah, for this video I'll just be using Mad Hatter's chunk pack, since it's like the easiest one to use in my opinion. But yeah, so the first thing you want to do is mark out your chunks. So here I have my base chunk, which I'll mark out. This is where you'll have most likely have your storage, and this is where you'll be AFKing. Up from here, this will be the first chunk away from the base chunk. This is the second chunk away, third chunk away, and the fourth chunk. You want to mark out each of these chunks. For me, I'll just mark out like the corners of each chunk. If you want to mark out the full chunk, then go ahead. As you see here, I've marked out the base chunk with the gold corner blocks. Here, the normal blocks of copper, exposed blocks of copper, weathered, and the oxidized blocks of copper. For our farm, most of it will be in the base chunk over here. Yeah, this will be where all our wiring will be, and we'll just extend a wire all the way here to where most of our farm will be. But as you saw earlier, our farm was actually 3 chunks wide, because if you didn't see in the simulation distance picture that I put up before, the very end of the simulation distance for sim distance 4 is 3 chunks long, so that just makes it much easier to tile everything. So we can mark that quickly also. So here we have all of our outline done. So now we can actually get started on the building of the farm. So first off, we want to build the actual clock that will be running the farm. So we want to go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 blocks in. You want to place a block there. You want to have your torch over here, a repeater going this way, and a redstone dust there, and 2 blocks here. And yeah, that's your 8 game tick clock. Pretty simple. You want to grab a lever, which I forgot to put in. And you want, for now, let's just put it over here. This will be your hard off switch. So like if something goes wrong, or this will just automatically turn your farm off. Most of the times you won't be using this, but yeah, for now we'll just turn that off. Now we want to extend the clock signal all the way to the farm, which will be on those 3 outer edge chunks. And remember, the clock should be completely inside of the base chunk. But from here, we want to place a repeater going out from this torch over here, as you see. Then we want to extend this redstone line straight up to like about halfway of the outer edge chunk. So maybe a few blocks more. We can always redo this later. So like about like that. And then we want to, since we want to extend the signal all the way over there, we want to place a repeater every new chunk. So here we have a repeater here, which will extend the signal until about here, where we can place a new repeater. Make sure it's facing the right way in the new chunk, and then we can just do that one more time over here, and then we can do it one last time over here. And yeah, that's all the repeaters we'll need for now. And yeah, that's just the simple and basic wiring for our farm. Now you want to come up to the last row of blocks on your 3 chunks over here. Then you just want to place your pistons facing up this, and then you can just go down this and then place all of your pistons. And once you're done placing all your pistons, you also want to place a bunch of redstone dust next to each of these pistons like this, in a row like that. But we can connect this to our redstone clock by bringing the redstone dust so that it's 3 blocks away from this redstone dust line, and then we can place a repeater facing this way, and then a redstone dust here. Then from here we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 redstone dust that way, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 redstone dust this way. Then from here we can place a block over here, a redstone torch. This should have your pistons all the way at the very end, extending. If that doesn't happen for you, and say this piston is in power for some reason, you didn't align this redstone power line correctly, and you could just go back in the video and correct that. And then over here you should place block here and a redstone torch like that over here. Yeah, this should also extend all the way to the back like that. And yeah, that's your wiring for your bottom pistons, and now we can do the top. And from here we can place a temporary block over here, here, and here, and get rid of this, and then place a sticky piston. Then we can just place all of our sticky pistons facing this way over here, and then do that for each of the 48 regular pistons. And once you're done placing all 48 of those pistons, you can come over here, place a temporary block over here, place another block over here. Then this will be where your redstone dust sits, so you can place all of the solid blocks along that row, and place a bunch of redstone dust along that row as well. And once you're done placing all that redstone, you should see that the sticky pistons over here get activated. But since we don't want that, we want to invert the signal. So where your redstone torch you put over here was on the right side, you want to place a redstone torch right over there. So you should see that all of the sticky pistons get deactivated up to the end. If not, then you have to make sure that you follow the tutorial exactly. Then you want to do the same thing on this side like that. And this is what your farm should look like for now. And now you want to place your sand over here. If you want, you'll need like 1 piece of sand, and then you can dupe your way until you have all 48, but it's just simpler to go out and mine just 1 stack of sand, or 48 to be exact. And yeah, once you're done with that, you can come over here, place 2 rows of solid blocks. Then you want to do this all the way down. And once you're done placing both rows of solid blocks, you can place some obsidian on it. It can be crying obsidian, or if you really don't have any, or if you can't find any, then you could place some solid blocks over here. But I'd really recommend that you put obsidian, because it'll save you if anytime somebody comes in and accidentally breaks your farm. So yeah, just place 48 obsidian along this row. And once you're done with that, well, this is really the core of your farm. The sand will just dupe, and then you'll get the sand along this line over here. But of course you want to have collection and all that. So first off, you want to place 1, 2, 3, and 4 rows of packed ice like that. You can use regular ice. But packed ice is just faster. Blue ice, while it's slightly faster, it's kind of pointless since it's so expensive. It barely gives any benefits. So all you want to do is have 4 rows of packed ice like this and extend it all the way down. And once you're done with all 4 rows of packed ice, your farm should be looking like this for now. And then to keep the sand inside and float up to the top, and place a 2x3 block of glass over here. It can be solid blocks, but it just looks nicer if it's
glass since you can see inside it and see if your sand is still there. I mean, if you really want to, you can just have your solid blocks there, but I mean, you're going to be getting infinite sand anyway, which you could just smelt into glass, so why not? And over here, you want to place 2 rows of glass like this as well to keep your sand and water in. And once you're done placing both layers of glass, you want to come over to the other side and also make that 2x3 of glass like this. And over here, we want to place 1 glass over here and do the same thing for the other side. And from here, we can place all our buttons, which will keep the water in and have the items still float across it. And once you have your row of buttons like this, your farm should be looking like this right now. And from here, you want to place your water like this. But if you don't need 48 buckets, you could just get 2 buckets. Well, let me show you from this end. You get 1 bucket here, another bucket here, and then you get an infinite water source. And well, let me show you in survival. So in survival, all you need is 2 water buckets. You'll place 1 bucket right over there, and another 2 blocks away, and then you just continue on. And it's very simple. Or alternatively, you could just get some ice and then place all the ice along this back row, and then break it with a pickaxe, and then you got your water also. But just in case you didn't have ice, it's probably easier to just get 2 water buckets and fill in the back row like this. So once you got your all your water flowing in from the back, remember you should only have water on this row over here, not on the second or third one. That'll just help all the items come up here and flow its way down here, but then it'll go on the floor over here. So what you want to do is have one last row of packed ice coming up from here. This will just help you gather all the sand and bring it to the middle, where you can then bring it back to your AFK chunk. And you want to just extend 1 glass here, a temporary block here, and another glass there. So 2 more glass like that. Do that for the other side as well. This will just keep the water and sand in. And then you can have a row of glass over here. And well, in the middle, you don't actually will remove one of the glass, but for now, just have 1 row of glass like this. And then from here, you could just have place 1 bucket of water, and then after the 8 blocks, you want to place a button here once the water ends, and do the same thing. And place another button here, a bucket here, and then place another button. But since we're over the middle, we actually want to stop right over. So place 1 button here and another button here, so that the water ends up in the very middle, aligned with our redstone line. And just do the same process from the other side. Wait until the water ends and place another button. I just like putting it on the floor since it's more consistent. Then yeah, we can place our last bucket like that. But the only problem is that the sand, if say the sand for this row comes up over here, it'll just flow down and then go inside this 1x1 block. Then it won't go down the collection system, and over time the sand will add up and create a lot of lag for you. So what you want to do is get some extra water buckets along with some fence gates, which I forgot to bring. And once you get your fence gates, you want to place 2 blocks like that. And actually, I think the buttons look better if they're on the side. Yeah, but anyways, you want to place 2 blocks on the side over here. So your buttons here, you want to place 1 here, 2 here, and you want to place 1 temporary block here, and then you want to place your fence gate and open it. Then you can remove that. And what this allows us to do is to have a water source come up from here. So actually, once you remove this, not like that. So you do not want to break a hole um inside of your collection system, but you want to just get rid of the water source by placing a block there. And you want to place your water bucket over here. So what this allows us to do is have say the sand over there. That was a bad example. But let's say your sand drops right over here. And then instead of just landing inside of here, it'll go inside of the water and then get brought down over here. And yeah, this is basically what we'll do for the other water streams. So over here, we have a button over here. I want to place 2 glass over here. I want to place 1 temporary water source here. Block over there. An open fence gate there. And your water source over here after you break that one. And then, yeah, you could just do this for the other side. I have 2 blocks over here. And then 1 block over here. An open fence gate. And then get rid of this water source and place a new water source there. And you want to place 2 blocks over here. Break that, I guess, first. And then place an open fence gate here. And place your new water source there. And yeah, that's all your collection system for the farm. But the middle is a bit more complicated because, well, we want it to extend out this way, but it's kind of hard when you have items coming in from both sides. So what you want to do is extend your packed ice stream like this, break open this glass over here, and then just bring some packed ice out along with glass on both sides, which will eventually bring to your base chunk, but for now we'll just block it off with a button. And so what you want to do is place a temporary block here and then have your open fence gate again. Do that for the same side over here, and then that'll allow us to place another temporary block over here. Instead of the button, we'll put back the button right after. Place a water source here, and then you can remove that and place your button again. And we can do that over here again. Place a temporary block here, water source here, and then yeah, that's your collection system for the middle. Though we do need to place a block over here and a block over here, just to prevent items from gaining too much momentum and spilling out on the sides. And yeah, this is pretty much the basis of your farm complete. So the next step is pretty simple. All you want to do is get your packed ice and then bring it all the way down to wherever your collection is. For me, I'm just bringing it down to the base chunk over here. How about we'll just finish it right over here. If you want, you can have your collection somewhere else. You can branch off and then bring it wherever you want if you're going to be decorating this or something. But yeah, just bring your packed ice like that, and have your glass on both sides. And now it should end up looking like this. Now you can just place in your water. We'll remove this temporary button and just do the same thing as before. Place a button where the water ends. Place a water source right next to the button over here. Place a button here, a water source here. And yeah, just do this until you get to wherever your collection is, which for me will be by the base chunk. I brought the water all the way down here, and for me, I'll just leave it here and then have the items drop here. If you just want an idea for storage, you could just put a bunch of hoppers over here where this packed ice is, and put hopper minecarts on top, and then have the packed ice come over here, and then have these hoppers feed into chests. And then yeah, that's just kind of temporary storage, but yeah, for me, I'll just collect them since I won't be actually AFKing this in creative mode. But anyways, that's pretty much your entire farm if you're doing it manually. But first off, I almost forgot, you want to place your portal down. So for your portal, the main thing is you want to have it inside of this chunk over here, this base chunk. But if you're doing the automatic version, you want to have it right on the edge of this chunk, but you want to have it 1 and then 2 blocks out. So you want to have your portal end up being over here. Let's just build a poor man's portal. And to have your portal base like that, then yeah, it should end up looking like this over here. And yeah, bring this over here. Yeah, so there should be one block of space between this glass and the outer edge of this portal, or if you want to think about it, 2 blocks away from this clock. Yeah, you could just slide it like this. Then so for activation, you could just turn this on for say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and we could turn this off. What you want to do is go in the portal. Then after it loads in, it'll generate a portal. This part is just for the automatic setup. I forgot to get rid of it. And so basically you want to go back inside. You should end up on this side. What you want to do is walk into this area. You'll feel some lag like this, but as you saw there, a bunch of sand just came out, and yeah, you see all this sand. You go back in here, you wait here, and you could just collect all of your sand. See, from like probably like 7 seconds, yeah, 9, 10, about 11 stacks of sand. Not too shabby. Yeah, we could just get rid of all of that. Yeah, if you're just doing the manual farm, that's pretty much it. But it's like exactly the same as Pizza Kitchen's farm, just different like collection and layout. But what this farm really shines in is the automatic part, so which I'll be showing you right up here. So for the automatic portion, all you have to do is add the wiring. You don't actually have to do much since we already built the entire farm. And so what you want to do is have a water source over here. And you know what, I'll break this portal temporarily so that I don't accidentally go through it. And you want to break these blocks around here, which will be the path of your, where you will AFK. And your water should stop right over here. And this is where you can place a sticky piston. Well, actually, you can place, it doesn't need to be sticky piston. That was just from previous testings. I don't know why. But anyways, you place 2 pistons, normal pistons there. And then what you want to do from there is add your boat puller. For your actual boat puller, you want to place 2 blocks over here, a sticky piston facing this way. And you want to get your trapdoor over here, place it like this, so it should flick open like this, exactly like that. And you want to place a temporary block there and a glass block over here. It doesn't have to be glass, but it just looks nicer. You want to place a glass block on top of the sticky piston, 2 glass panes. These 2 glass panes over here can be iron bars, just in case you wanted to know. Yeah, so standing on this block, crouching, you want to have the trapdoor flipped open like this. You want to place 2 boats over at the top right corner, and then you want to place them like this over here. But that worked out. But if your boat's placed like that, you just want to wiggle around your crosshairs until it fits into like that. There are other ways of getting the boats inside there, but this is just the easiest. And you can flick that trapdoor back, place a piece of glass over there, and the last thing you want to do is place a trapdoor over here. And so this just prevents the boats from pulling out. So we could just quickly test this. Yeah, over here the sticky piston will pull us, and then it will pull us out into the water stream like that. And yeah, that's just basically our boat puller. And then we could just sync this up with a clock. And then all we have to do next is have additional wiring over here to pull us into the nether.
And as for the Ether Hopper clock, we can begin by placing a solid block here, 2 sticky pistons facing this way, like so, and another solid block here. We can place our redstone block there, 2 hoppers facing each other, so one like that, and come over here and have the other facing into each other like that. And we can place our comparator and dust there, and do the same thing for this side. And all we have to do is add our 14 items. For me, I'm just using cobblestone since it's probably the easiest item to get for anybody, but you can use whatever you want. And even though all you need is just 10 items, what we do need an extra of 4 items just to make sure that the a boat puller doesn't pull us out while we're in the portal. And yeah, to turn this on and off, we can just place this lever and this turns it off, and then we can turn it on like that. And to connect it to the boat puller, just add that redstone dust over there. And yeah, that's pretty much the boat puller completely done. Now we can get started on the actual activation of the farm. So since we're not going to be using this like actual switch, we're going to be using a detection system. So when we cross this chunk border, we'll have an observer, which you want to place on the second obsidian block over here, so that there's just enough space for the player to fit under. We can place a string over here. So what this does is basically we're gonna activate it whenever we go underneath, which is just what we need. And then we can place 1, 2, 3 solid blocks like that. We can place 1, 2, and then 1 repeater over here, and then 3 redstone dust. And then we just want to put that to 4 ticks. And afterwards, we can come here and place 2 more redstone dust and have our pulse extender. So we can place 3 comparators like that, another 2 redstone dust, and then 3 comparators back. Yeah, this will just create the delay, so we know when to activate these pistons. And then we could just activate that by having 1 comparator here, repeater here on 3 ticks, which leads into this block. Then we need to clear out these 6 blocks over here. Then we can place a repeater over here. A torch. I don't know why I keep on saying wrong redstone items. We can place 1, 2, 3, and 4 redstone dust like that. Then we want to have 1 repeater here, another repeater here. So basically what this will do is we'll be able to go underneath, and after some amount of delay, it'll activate. As you see, once the pulse extender goes out, it'll turn on that, and then we'll go in the portal like that. But we do need to add a few more things. So over here, we want to place 3 more solid blocks, and then 2 redstone dust like that, and another one over here. We want to place a repeater here on 3 ticks, then another redstone dust. And this will basically allow us to have enough time for the boat puller to wait until after we've gone through the portal to extend again. And then besides from that, we want to actually toggle this, so we can place 1 redstone dust over here, and then a solid block and a torch. Then once we turn this off, this will go back to its default state like that. But basically what happens is when this gets activated and this pulse extender is on, this torch will turn off, which will activate the clock. So yeah, this is actually all of the overworld wiring done. I wouldn't activate it now because it'll turn on the farm, but yeah, now we can get onto the nether wiring. But before we start the nether wiring, we want to make sure that the portals are correctly linked up, because of course, if they're not, then it'll ruin the entire AFKing process. Yeah, you could just go in and out of the nether a couple times to make sure that you arrive at the same portals. And yeah, once we get started, we can break this to make sure we don't go through it by accident. Place a sticky piston there, a trapdoor over here, make sure it flicks this way. We can place 2 glass blocks like this, a couple glass panes over there, 2 boats like this, flick that back, place your second trapdoor, and place your glass block over, and that's your boat puller. And then we could get started on the ether hopper clock. So you want to get out your solid block over here, 2 sticky pistons like that, a redstone block over here, another solid block over here. You want to place a temporary block here, a hopper facing that, and another hopper facing itself. And then you want to place your comparator and your redstone dust over here. Do the same thing for the other side. And then you can add your 11 items. While the overworld you put 14 here, you just need to do 11, since you just need to pull the player in and out because we don't have to worry about pulling it while we're putting it in the portal again. But anyways, yeah, you can connect these up with a redstone dust there. So every so often it'll pull itself, and we could just light the portal. Then we are done. So here we can just AFK this a bit to test it out. Since we're in survival now, we can actually test the farm out. And you just want this ether hopper clock on at that position, and you want to turn on the nether one as well. Then we can go here and have this piston pull us out like that. And then as we pass under here, it's going to activate it. Then after a small delay over here, it's going to push us into the portal. And yeah, so once you get to the nether, the first time around, it's usually going to take a while for the boat puller to push you back into the overworld, but once you get it synced up properly, it just happens like that. And since it's a bit laggy, it does create some lag over there. And yeah, as you see here, we'll just see a couple sand coming over. Yeah, just from, what, 15-20 seconds, we have almost 9 stacks of sand. And anyways, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always reach me through Discord, or if you want, DM me. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'll see you later. And yes, I do know it's been quite a while since I last posted, but yeah.